ET, what's up, man? Glad to have you on the podcast.
Man, good to be on the podcast. So thank you for giving me this platform, and thank you for putting me in front of your people.
Yeah, I mean, I got to say thank you as well. I've been following you for years, and I've always been motivated and inspired by what you're doing and the way that you share it, which is so powerful. You know, there's a lot of leadership, motivational, inspirational type stuff up there, but the way that you communicate your message, it just speaks to me. So this is awesome. This is a treat for me.
I'm glad to hear that, because it was funny, right? I was in LA, just driving up the street, and it's weird, man, because I'm from the Midwest, so it's all about hard hats, steel toe boots. You know what I'm saying? So we don't really do the celebrity kind of fame stuff, right? But I've gotten there some kind of way, what I'm saying, through social media. So I'm in LA, I'm driving up the street. I'm forgetting that, to some people, I'm recognizable. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I got the window down, and this African-American dude screams out the window like, E.T., and so normally I would be, taken aback a little bit, because for me, the fame thing is still, it's just not something I'm still comfortable with, right? So, but when he said E.T., I'm like, oh, okay, he comes in peace. He knows me. And so he's just like, yo, bro, you changed my life, whatever. But it was funny because he was saying, yo, in the beginning, when I got accidentally saw you, it was the voice. You was loud, you was screaming, and it was a turnoff, but he was like, I don't know what happened. He was going through something. And so he started watching it again. And he was like, yo, when I watched it the second time, it was passion. It was, like you arrested my attention. And I think it's so funny, man, because, I'll come across people who are like, you're screaming and hollering. And I'm like, it's so funny. We live in a world where there are certain things that, whether it be like entertainment or whatever it is, we take it as it is. Like, it may not be beneficial. It may not be, it could be harm, whatever, but we take it as it is. But when it comes to somebody challenging us, somebody getting in our face, not cheerleading, but really pushing us to greatness, it's just funny that some people see it in the negative. And it doesn't bother me. But when I hear you say, like, yo, E, the way you push, the way you deliver, the way you, it's like, yo, I'm trying to arrest your attention, because I'm competing with entertainment. I'm competing with all of the vices that are on social media. You feel me? And so for me, it's like, yo, we got to get after it. We got to make it happen. And so I'm grateful that I do get to hear, not as much as you screaming and hollering. I get to hear those sometimes. Hey, I understand that you understand the delivery. You understand the importance of passion. You understand the importance of energy. So yeah, that means a lot.
I think a lot of the times when people are critical of the way somebody delivers a message, especially how you do with so much passion and intensity and fire, that's what I see it as anyways, is they misinterpret it as insecurity. But I think that's a mirror, actually. I think it's that they're insecure and they don't like the way you're doing it, because it draws out them a feeling of inadequacy in our own lives. And so I don't want to confront it. I don't want to deal with it because you're calling me out and that's not comfortable. So you're delivering the message wrong, not I got some things I need to work on myself.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. Like I said, though, I'm just at a place in my life where I love my audience enough where I'm not even really tripping on what you think about me. Like, it's not a personal thing. You feel me? So I'm not like, how do you see me? I want you to see me as a positive. I'm not on that. Like, I love humans enough to understand that when Michael Jordan got to do what Michael Jordan wanted to do, Michael Jordan never won championships, bottom line. But when Michael Jordan was confronted by Phil Jackson, like, Phil Jackson wasn't like, what do you want? What do you want to do? You feel me? Now, the coach before that, he was like, everything around Michael Jordan, the ball Michael Jordan, the camera Michael Jordan, the plays around Michael Jordan. Phil Jackson was like, bro, I'm not interested. Like, I'm not here for Michael Jordan. We're here for basketball. We're here to win championships. I won a championship. I know what it takes to win a championship. I'm not trying to be your friend. I'm not interested. You said that you wanted Chicago Bulls to be a franchise, a dynasty like Boston, like the Lakers. And so that's what we're going to do. So you're not going to score 60 points. and you're not going to get the ball all the time. And you're not, and so I look at Kobe, Phil Jackson, but no disrespect. And I don't want people to take this the wrong way, but I truly believe that if LeBron had a coach, LeBron probably would have 7 or 8 championships right now,
Right.
and so I can't get into, because I'm not LeBron. So I can't, and I'm not in the NBA. So I can't get into why he never had a Phil Jackson. I don't know, but I do know that oftentimes we want things a certain way, but it doesn't mean that if you get it that way, you're also going to get the outcomes that you want. And sometimes we have to get it the way we don't want to get it, or we're not comfortable with receiving it, but it's going to get us the outcomes we want. So for me, at the end of the day, studying history and seeing what makes people great, the passive boy ain't it. Now, there are times that, the passive thing is helpful, like passive income. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
We love it. I love passive income. But being a passive leader, and being passive as it relates to taking action, I don't see where that works a lot. I don't see where there's a high probability of success when one is being passive with the people that they're encouraging. So for me, to your point, I just believe I'm gonna give it to you the way I know that I've done this for NFL players, I've done this for D1 and won championships, I've done this for corporate and see them take off, I've done this for individuals and they take off. So I'm gonna do it in a way where I'm going to help you and bless you and not necessarily be worried about how you receive it, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. I'm wondering how a guy who knows that he wants to take life, by the balls, if you will, can get to a point where he has that level of confidence, that level of assertiveness, where he's not so concerned with what other people think, because that's what gets in the way.
Yeah.
And cares more about serving, helping, fulfilling a mission, and just isn't wrapped up in the persona of it, and more interested in the deeper, more significant meaning behind it.
Yeah, no, here's what I think. I think when you can get more internal and less external is when you blow up and you have confidence. You feel me? I feel that when you're worried about what other people think, or let me say this, when your start is outward, you're not going to have confidence, because you're going to have 100 people who critique you in 100 different ways. And I put this up on a post not too long ago, and I said, listen to me, you're not going to get talkers to coach doers. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not going to happen, bro. You're not going to have a bunch of talkers that's going to sit there and be like, all right, we about to help doers do. It's just not going to happen. And what a lot of you are doing wrong is you're listening to people who sound phenomenal, but they haven't accomplished much. They haven't done much. Like, they haven't even made their own dreams become a reality. So for me, it's like, yo, if you want to be confident, you got to start from within. And what do I mean by that? Being a kid coming up from the Midwest, Chicago, Detroit, I noticed that, whoa, people paying more for the Cadillac. Okay, why are they paying more for the Cadillac? Oh, okay, people pay way more for a Rolls Royce truck, for a Bentley car. Like, why are they paying that much? Wow, she spent all that on a diamond. And I started realizing that people respect, value, and pay more for something that's rare. I started realizing, like, so yo, E, the last thing you want to do is be a carbon copy of everybody else. That don't seem like it works. What seems that it works is really being your own individual, which you are automatically. The only way you become a carbon copy of somebody else is when you start losing or devaluing your own uniqueness because you're trying to fit in and doing what everybody else is doing. Like, I tell people all the time, man, mad respect Jim Rohn, mad respect Les Brown, mad respect one of my favorites, Zig Ziglar, mad respect Tony Robbins. Like, yo, bro, these individuals, Ogman, Dino, like, you could go on and on, Napoleon Hill, you know what I'm saying? The greats, bruh, I wouldn't be where I am without them. But you have to understand the reason why I'm considered the #1 motivational speaker in the world, and the reason why I will put, my footprint in this genre is because I'm not trying to act like Les Brown. I'm not trying to be like Tony Robbins. Like, just honestly, when you look at me, I never even did the shirt and the top boy. Like, that wasn't even my thing. Why? Because the majority of us, bruh, aren't shirt and tie. Like most of us don't even come from corporate. Like most humans don't have the opportunity to work for a Fortune 500 company. We have McDonald's, Burger King, Ford, GM, Chrysler. Like we working at a printing company in Detroit. You're not white collar. Most of us are identified as blue collar. So when I came out, I was like, yeah, I already know people are gonna go, why you dress like that? Why you look like that? Well, because I'm not trying to be Tony Robbins. And here's the reality. If I try to do Tony, if I try to do Zig, if I try to do Napoleon, if I try to do Les Brown, I'm going to fail miserably. Why? Because I'm not them. And I can't be Tony Robbins. I can't be Les Brown. But Eric Thomas, man, I could be Eric Thomas effortlessly. You feel me? Like I could be E.T. without even trying. I'm just E.T. when I wake up in the morning. So what I had to do to dominate in my space is to say, yo, bro, you can't be listening to them. Like, it's not that you're being arrogant. It's not that you're like that you don't value other humans, but they don't know about this rare model because they're not you. So you can learn in terms of some of the principles. You can learn in terms of the methodology, you know, or the philosophy of motivation. You can learn from them about the psychology of humans. But how you do what you do, you can't mimic them. You got to be yourself. And every day I was myself, I gained more confidence and it actually became easier. You know, so I would say to people, stop starting going outward in and go inward out. And I just think most humans start out and go in. And what you should do is go in and then you go out after you've gone in.
So I have a couple of questions on that, a couple of comments. The first is that one of the things I've noticed that makes this very hard is social media. Yeah. Social media is amazing. Like we probably wouldn't be having this conversation together if it weren't for social media, the people that listen to you, the people that listen to me. But it promotes conforming, or at least really taking into consideration the way other people view you. And we spend, you know, I get that report on my phone and it says you spent 5 hours on your screen per day or whatever it is. And I'm like, that was 5 hours of my day trying to impress other people and be somebody that I'm really not.
Yeah. So let me say this to you. You said it, you used the word perception. That is the perception. The perception is I have to be like them. But you know what? Listen to me, bro. I spent a lot of time alone. I spent a lot of time doing those self-help books and, you know, watching, you know, the Michael Jordans, the Kobe Bryants, the whatever. And I said, wow, there are two powers, you know, two influences in this earth. There's the influence of the average and there's the influence of the great. And the average is, yo, we got to do what everybody else is doing to be affirmed. And can we just keep it all the way 1,000? Like we all want to be in community. We all, we all a sense of belonging. I think it was Maslow, hierarchy needs. He said, you know, one of the things is, of course, safety, you know, and security. There are the, you know, just basic needs, water, food, whatever, shelter, you know, but then there was that sense of belonging. And I believe that most humans get trapped at the sense of belonging because that's the lowest hanging fruit of being in community, of not being by yourself, of not being alone, but having a place where, you know, the song, we all want to go where everybody knows our name and they're always glad you came. You want to be where trouble is free. You want to be where everybody knows your name. We all want that. But Maslow also says there's another level of community and it's called self-actualization. And it's actually at the peak of the mountain. That's the peak of the mountain. And when you get there, what you're going to find is that more people are going to follow you when you get there than they're going to tolerate you when you are at just a sense of belonging. Now, people got to realize when you're at a sense of belonging, oftentimes you just tolerate it. It's just like, yo, we got to be together because we humans. We won't do well alone. But when you get to the top self-actualization, you actually, and please forgive this term, I don't mean it, you know, in his base, but you actually get worshiped. You know, when you reach self-actualization, you actually get to another level of humanness, because most humans will never reach self-actualization. So they actually worship you and look up to you in a way that they don't look up to you when they just tolerate you. When you get to self-actualization, they actually celebrate you. Like it's another level. So I was just with the LA Rams. And I was with the LA Rams as myself, dressed like I dress. I think I had on a Captain America shirt. You feel me? Some Nike jogging pants and some cool gray Michael Jordan 11s, right? With the baseball cap. And I'm in there on common talk. I'm not trying to be deep. They won the Super Bowl. I'm not trying to be deep. But what I am trying to say is, all right, fellas, I'm just going to be real with y'all. I'm not coming in here, the LA Rams. I'm not coming in here to belong. I'm not coming in here, oh no, I'm wearing your jersey and I want to take pictures with the whole squad. I took a picture with Stafford because I'm from Detroit and I rocked with Stafford for 12 years. Super excited. He went and won a Super Bowl. Jalen Ramsey is a player that has been in touch with me for years, following my stuff. So I wanted to spend time with him. And the picture with Coach was just like, yo, Coach, you brought me in. You okayed
right,
it.
Sure.
What you know what I'm saying? Like respect. You feel me? Matter of fact, Coach wasn't even in the room. Coach was taking care of business. So when I put up a post with two of other than AD, Donaldson, other than him, three of the players on their team that's probably ranked top 10, if not top 20 players in the NFL. So what I'm showing people is, one, I'm following my passion, my dreams. I'm actually number one in the world. So it's not ironic that I'm attracting number one in the world. You feel me?
Of course.
And people are gonna go, yo, E. Now I can show you a car, but anybody can go to the dealership and buy a car. Everybody's not gonna be invited by the number one team, by the world champions to come and teach the world champ. Everybody's not gonna get that. So now when I go, yo, I charge $200,000. Well, corporations are gonna want to pay it. Why? Because I'm with the world champions and we'll be at the football game. You'll see me on the field. So like, yo, E is not worried about what other people think about him. E is not, wearing, again, nothing wrong. You got a Rolex watch. You know what I'm saying? You got a whatever kind of truck. You live in a certain kind of house. Okay, whatever. You can Airbnb that and act like it's yours. You can two-roll somebody's car and act like you can't act like you speaking to the LA Rams. You can't fake it like you speaking to the Rams. You can't fake it like you are not only at a game that you paid for and you're with Stafford. You can't fake it like you're training Stafford. You can't fake it like Stafford is up front listening. You can't fake it like you can't fake that. So actually, by getting to self-actualization and not pretending, but really living life to its fullest, I am able to have people celebrate me and not just tolerate me. So to the point is just like, yo, when you figure out who you are and you're trying to feed the masses and not be led by the masses, you're leading the masses and adding value to the masses. That's the way that you use social media, and not, I got to do what they're telling me to do. I got to follow. Bruh, I've been blessed financially. I don't feel the need to wear a Rolex watch. I'm not mad at the dude that got a Rolex. I like the hat. You might see me sometimes with the fatigue. Like you might see me with, like, you're not going to necessarily see me. And I do drive an Escalade. I'm from Detroit. I do drive an Escalade. You're not going to see any pictures of me with the Escalade. You're not going to see me in the car doing a video so you can see I got the car. Now, if I happen to do a video because I need to do it, but up to this point, I haven't needed to be in my truck doing a video. I don't need the world to approve. I'm actually helping the world. And so it's like, yo, you got two options. You can follow social media or you can lead social media. I'm trying to tell you from personal experience, it's way less stressful to lead social media than it is to follow them and have to wake up every single day and do what they tell you to do when they tell you to do it. And may I add, I probably could be worth probably 150 million or more. I had an opportunity, man, maybe 10 years ago, to sit down with one of the most influential people in the world who said to me, if I put you on my show, I'm going to blow you up. And I said to myself, if I got to be in LA in Hollywood and I got to be in the studio recording all day, every day. Bruh, to me, it's like 150 mil, but I don't have my freedom. Like that's not what self-actualization looks like to me. So right now I might be, valued at, anywhere from 7 mil to 10 mil, which to me is 150 mil. Why? Because I own my own life. Like I can get up when I want to get up. You know what I'm saying? Go to bed when I want to go to bed, vacation when I want to vacation. So to me, money doesn't necessarily mean self-actualization. You could make millions and millions and millions of dollars and still be a slave to something. I want freedom. You feel me? And so for me, I don't want to, I got to get on social media and do this. I got to get on social. No, I don't want to do that. Or I got to say this. I don't want to do that. My podcast, we could probably make more money from the podcast if we had a big sponsor, but the big sponsor might be like, don't talk about that. Don't say this. Don't say that. I'm like, yo, bro, I'm good. Like, I would rather make what I make organically and be able to own my own voice, to own what I'm able to say. That's a part of being in this country. You feel me? As a freedom of speech, but you telling me because you paying me 8 mil, I can't talk about this. I can't talk about that. I got to talk about this. I'm like, I'm good. Matter of fact, I was talking to my guy and we got like some, no disrespect, but like, let's say baby sponsorships. And I never listened to the podcast and I was listening to it the other day when I was in the car with him and it stopped and it was an ad come on. I was like, bro, kill the ads. Like it's in the middle of, I'm like, yo, bro, I'm waxing deep. We don't make money. Like I make money speaking, like kill the ads. As a matter of fact, if you need ad that bad, use one of the companies that I have and let's do an ad with that company. And we could do it on the front end or the back end. Sure. But the middle, like you taking away, because here's the deal. It's not that the ads are bad, but they're intentionally putting the ad in right at the peak. And then the ad comes in at the peak and it messes up, so at the end of the day, whatever self-actualization means to you, that's what it means to you. But some kind of way, when we just belong, when we're tolerated and we're not celebrated, it's just that people treat you differently when they tolerate you than they do when they celebrate you.
Well, it's ironic too, because what I've noticed is as I've tried to, impress other people, they're less impressed. And when I care less about what they think, then they're more impressed. It's a dichotomy that's really hard to wrap your head around. And like you said, it all starts with you, but most people want to do that outside work because they can get the quick accolades and the notoriety and the attention or the income. You said, they worship you. And I know what you mean by that. You weren't trying to be like blasphemous or anything, anything like that. But I am very curious about your take on a higher power. Is that something you believe in? Is there something greater than yourself? Or is it just, purpose driven? Because obviously you're trying to serve people, but I'm very curious with your take on that.
Yeah. I when I was 8 years old, my mom sent me, now we didn't grow up in church. So I didn't grow up seeing my parents pray or we weren't reading the Bible, nothing like that. But when I was 8 years old, my mom didn't want me to get consumed by, just the stuff that happens in, cities in the summer. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
sure.
My mom didn't want me to get, caught up in the drugs and gangs or whatever. So she sent me to a camp. Now, my mom didn't send me to the camp per se because it was a religious camp. She sent me because she saw it as a way, to keep me from, the streets. And she thought that it was super productive. So I ended up going there and it turned out, they were talking about, like Bible stories and stuff. Like I said, I didn't grow up in church. So Noah and David and all that, I ain't know nothing about that stuff. But what was cool about it was a safe environment. It was a progressive environment. So I literally got turned on to, what we would call in, the Western world, Christianity, and this, and I think because I didn't grow up in church, so I didn't do religion. So from an early age, I just really did, a relationship with the creator. Like they taught me how to pray. So I'm talking to the creator and I didn't know how to pray. I was a kid. So I'm singing like songs to the creator, Anita Baker, Sweet Love. I want that same love 365 days a year. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't you ever go away. So I established a relationship when I was about 8, but when I was homeless is where I really, 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 really got into a deep prayer life. really got into my Bible, started going to church, got baptized, went to college, a religious college. And then I eventually, by the age of, maybe 19, 20, 21, became, maybe a bootleg minister, but eventually became an ordained minister. So I am a pastor. I don't talk about that stuff. And it's not that I'm ashamed or anything. I just feel like a relationship with God is so intimate that it's not something I just like just throwing out there just randomly at people. I kind of feel like when you get to know me and you hear me, you kind of know, he got a fuel that's different. Like E engine is different. Like something up with E. I don't know exactly what it is, but like he definitely not in his own strength. Like where's he getting this from? And then when people inquire, I share my experience with God, not necessarily church, because church has hurt people. Church could be confusing. And it's not that I don't have a church. Even people go like, I never knew you had a church. Intentionally. When you needed to know, you would know. So again, it's not that I hide my wife. It's not that I hide my baby girl, but you're not going to have access to my daughter like that.
Sure.
You feel me?
No
It's like,
doubt.
I don't, you know what I'm saying?
Doubt.
Like, it's not that I hide her or I'm private. Like people know I got a daughter, but I'm not going to give you access to something that's that precious to me unless I know you mean her well and you're going to try as much as you can to build her up and not tear her down. It's the same thing with God. I'm not just throwing out. You need to, it's like, if you trying to get to another level and you need support and you want to get to know the creator, go for it. So super spiritual guy, not really religious though.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's something I've been wrestling with specifically over the past month or so is, even within our organization, very much the same way as you is, spiritual. I am religious as well, but I don't really talk about it a whole lot. But over this past month, I'm like, man, maybe I should talk about it more because that is not to game it. I think it could come across that way.
That's a good word.
But just because that's where I'm trying to derive a lot of my strength from. And a lot of the men who listen are inquiring about strength and how to improve their lives. And like, well, this is a source of strength and growth for me. Like, I feel like maybe I'm at a crossing point where it's like, man, maybe I should talk more about that because that's a place I think these guys can get a lot of strength from.
Absolutely. And you know what? I love that you're saying that, no shameless plug, but in UOU, I can't not talk about it because it happened to me. You feel me? Like God was what changed everything. And you'll see that common thread throughout the book. But here's what I'm learning. What you just said, when somebody needs it, I'm not going to hide it. I'm going to give it out, in multitude, but I'm not going to throw my pearls at swine anymore. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to just randomly walk up to somebody and just say, boom, as much as I wouldn't some of the gems that I have. I don't just walk up on the street and be like, hey, you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe? No, he may not. Once my daughter was like, Dad, that guy's homeless. And I'm like, why are you saying it like that? And she's like, I feel sorry for him. I was like, why would you say you feel sorry for him? You don't feel sorry for the person that live in a mansion? There's somebody that's living in a mansion you should feel sorry for. Everybody's not out here because of why you think they're here. And so you think that this person needs your food and they need your sympathy. No, there's somebody in a mansion whose marriage is tore up from the floor up, who kids can't stand their guts, who when they're at home is not a heaven, it's not a haven. That person is in greater need, but you're looking at money and going, so what I've learned to do is go, hey, E, when somebody needs you and they need to know how important God is in your life and what he's done for you, that opportunity would present itself. And when that opportunity presents itself, go for it. But what you don't do is you don't go and beat people up or bully people or chase people or force what you know to be your truth on somebody else. But I promise you, what you just said, I'll have men come to me all the time and they're like, yo, E, it ain't working. I'm making a lot of money. It ain't working. I'm like, that's because money has its purpose. Like money can't do everything. And so when people say to me, well, how do you see it, God or money? I say, get as much as both of them as you can. Get
Yeah.
as much
Yeah.
God as you can. Get as much money as you can. Why? Because you can't go to the gas tank and go, I pray that my gas tank gets filled. You can't do that. It takes money. But when your wife is diagnosed like my wife, I can't go to the bank and take out my money and put it in the living room and have her roll over it and she gets healed. That's prayer. That's pleading to God to have mercy on my wife, to fix her condition, to heal her. That's when I need God. So I think God is important. I think money is important, but I don't chase anybody. I let opportunities present itself. And once I see, oh, this person wants and needs this, then man, I'm gonna give you my whole heart, my whole mind, my whole soul. But never embarrassed, never ashamed. And if you're around me more than an hour, I'm gonna talk about my wife. I'm gonna talk about my God. I'm gonna talk about my babies. Like you go know Jalen, you gonna know Jada, you're gonna hear about Dee Dee, you're gonna hear about my mom, Vanessa, you're gonna hear about my God. It just, I can't go without talking about those things because they mean that much to me.
I think it's powerful. I like that idea, not casting the pearls before swine. Obviously, that's a
Yeah.
biblical principle.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of not offering unsolicited feedback, because I can't think of a single time in human history that's even though it might be needed, that's ever been appreciated and accepted.
You know what? I told a lady the other day, she's like, she goes to my church, a wonderful lady, but people run when they see her coming. And I sat her down the other day and I was like, yo, I'm not trying to be funny. You love to hug. Everybody's not comfortable with that. Everybody's not comfortable with people being in a space like that, holding on to them like that. Like some people have been physically abused, sexually abused, mentally abused. They got some stuff to overcome. So you getting that close in that space is trauma. And then I said to them, you're like me, very opinionated. But here's the deal. Opinionated only works when somebody asks for it.
Yeah,
like it don't, I promise you, like, I don't give my opinion out no more. But when people ask me for it and I give it to them, oh, the reaction is unbelievable. But when I just run up on somebody and say, you know what I was thinking, they were like, I never asked you what you were thinking.
I don't care what you were thinking.
I never
Exactly.
asked you that. Yeah, so I'm just learning, man, that just because you can doesn't mean you should. And timing is, man, you get a touchdown, in the fourth quarter with seconds left versus you getting a touchdown in the first quarter. Man, I'm a Lion fan, right? Every time we score in the first, second, third quarter, I'm not impressed. I'm like, hey, guys, it's not gonna work. Guys, it's not meaningful. You need to score. I need a touchdown in the fourth quarter when the clock go off so we can win. And so timing also, man, is everything.
Talk to me about the book, because I know you've got the book launching in a couple of weeks, but we're going to release this on the day it launches. So talk to me about UOU, because I've read through it. I haven't read the book, but I've read through the synopsis of it and gone through the headings and the chapters and all that. I'm very excited to get into that.
You know what, bro? Like, as both of us are coaches, we're teachers, and we try as much as we can to make it stick, to make it meaningful, to make it apply. Right. And so when I literally simplified my life and said, hey, E, you got 30 seconds, bro. You got 30 seconds to help somebody in the elevator, somebody at a school, somebody in the hospital. What do you tell them? You owe you. You owe you. Like, yo, I was just like, yo, E, when you think about everything you've done and all the early things you did to really help you to get to, like, God, like we talked earlier, bro, God always wanted me to be here. My wife wanted me to be here long before. My mom used to say, yo, it's two yous. And I was always hoping that this you would shine and outdo that other Eric. You know what I'm saying? That was killing you. So I said, what changed for me? It was the day that I said, E, you owe you. Your mama don't owe you. Bro, she brought you in this world. She don't owe you no more. You're not 8 years old. Your biological father wasn't in your life. So what? He doesn't owe you nothing. Now, maybe he owed you to be in your life when you were 2, when you were 4. Maybe he should have been responsible. Bro, you a grown man. You in your 20s and you homeless. That don't have nothing to do with your mom or your biological father. You got kicked out of school. That don't have nothing to do with your mom and bruh, you got pulled over by the police because you was in a stolen car and your boy had a substance in the car. You got arrested, bruh. Your teacher don't know the cop. The cop don't know your mama. The teacher don't know but they all know you. You the common denominator in this story, E. You owe you. Your mama don't owe you that. The boss don't owe you. Nobody owes you. Nobody owes you to live the life you want to live or the drink. You owe you. And so, man, I call the book You Owe You because I said, yo, isn't it ironic you would crucify another human for promising you something and didn't do it, or picking you up late and you missed the opportunity. You'd be so mad at them, but you get away with murder. You don't have to hold yourself accountable. You don't owe you some push-ups when you late. You don't owe you no TV. I'm not watching the game. Like, you hold other people to the fire, but you don't hold yourself to the fire. I'm like, nah, bro. You owe you, Eric. Don't nobody else owe you. And the day I took full responsibility for my life, the day, CJ said something funny. C was like, yo, E, I think you kind of obsessed with this thing. I was like, what do you mean by that? He's like, yo, you take responsibility for stuff that you didn't even do. Like, why do you do that? That doesn't even make sense. I said, here's what I realized, C, that as long as I'm involved in it, I still need to take responsibility. Like, if I'm involved in it, even if I didn't mess up, even if it was my man who didn't deliver the package to FedEx and we didn't get the mail to the contract in time, so we lost the deal, yo, bro, even though it's my man's fault that he didn't take it's my fault that I gave him the FedEx to take in the first place. What made me think he was trustworthy enough to take the doggone FedEx container? No, Eric, you should have taken it, or you should have chosen somebody. Like, you chose your top 5. You did the draft pick. You selected these individuals. Like, you made this person the CEO, the CFO. You made this person the CEO. Like, you played a part in it. So you got to take responsibility that you chose your boy because you like him, not because he was qualified. You chose your boy because you trust him, not because he was qualified. Stop hiring people because you like them and you trust them. Stop. Pick people who are qualified, people who can get the job done. So yeah, when I took full ownership of my life, everything changed. And in the book, I chronicle how to do that, like how to stop putting the blame on somebody else. Look, man, I tell people this all the time, do I believe racism exists? 1,000% I do. Do I believe that there are bad cops? 1,000% I do. Do I believe there are great cops? 100%. My next door neighbor, Erica and Mike, I don't know where they come from. I don't know if they people from Ireland. I don't know if they from England. I don't know. The best human beings, bruh, that I've ever met in my life. Let me tell you something. I'm rocking with Erica and Mike more than across from me, and Karen. Karen is her husband. Bruh, some of the best. Bill, live across. Bill, bruh, white male, best humans on the planet, bruh. So do I believe in racism? I actually do believe in racism. Do I believe that racism is going to stop me? Absolutely not. I can't be upset because some dude got trained when he was a kid by his grandfather or great-grandfather that you should judge people by the color of their skin. That don't got nothing to do with me. I owe it to myself to make my life great. And guess what? All the hate and racism that he has, it can't stop me. His life has nothing to do with my life, bruh. So when people sit here and go, what about this trial and what about this tribulation? I believe that the success of my life has more to do with what I owe me than what somebody else, some policy. Bro, I'm not trying to be funny. I don't care if it's Bush, Ronald Reagan. I don't care if it's Bill Clinton, if it's Obama, if it's Donald Trump. At the end of the day, ain't none of those dudes came to my house and cooked the meal. Not one of them came to my house and cooked the meal, bro. Not one of them came to my house and changed my son Jalen when his diapers need to be changed. Not one of them fixed my oil when my oil need to be changed. Do they play a part in American society? 1,000%. But they don't play the biggest role in my life. Somebody was like, what you think about Obama? The same thing I think about Bush, and the same thing I think about Clinton, and the same thing I thought about Trump. I call them all president. I ain't call none of them by their first name. Now, I'll be honest with you, of the 4 opportunities that I got to vote, of course, I didn't get to vote for each candidate. Like I didn't get to vote. Like I didn't get to vote for both of them every time I voted. And I
Right.
voted
Sure.
differently every time. Like, bruh, who I was when I was homeless and who I was as the #1 motivational speaker in the world and the policies that was on the, bruh. But none of the politicians came to my house and cut my grass. None of them. When my electricity went out, none of them went to the box and opened the box and looked for the kill switch and kick. Like that one got tripped. None of them fixed the power in my crib, bruh. You owe you. And when I got to the point where I was like, there's no evil in the world that can stop me, and there's no good in the world if I don't want to handle my business that can help me. I'm gonna say that one more time. I want y'all to catch that one. There's no evil in the world that can stop me when my mind is made up, but there's no good in the world that can help you when you lazy. There's no good in the world that can help you when you're not trying, when you're not putting forth effort. And so for me, I woke up one day and I realized, like, yo, E, you got the power, E. You have the power. And once I made up in my mind, I owe myself, man, everything changed for me.
I'm writing some of these things down. I like that about no evil can stop you when your mind's to it, but no good can do you when you're lazy. I wrote that down. That also reminds me of something that you talk about in the book, I know as well, and you've talked about in the past, is writing your own script.
Yeah.
You know, and you talked about it with learning, for example, racism from your dad or your granddad, or learning how to treat other people by what you've seen around you as a young child. But at some point, you kind of have, not kind of, you do have to outgrow your excuses, and we all have them, right? My dad wasn't around, my mom was this, my boss is that, the president this, the economy that. But you talk about writing your own script, and I'd love to hear more about that.
You know what I realized, man, this is crazy. Like, one man's excuses is one man's opportunity. You know, and I'll never forget the opportunity that Dan Gilbert gave me to sit in a room with a bunch of billionaires, and Warren Buffett was one of them. And I will never forget being in a room hearing dudes talk about a recession like it was going to a Super Bowl. I was like, what am I hearing?
What's going on here?
I'm like, bro, what am I hearing? Like, everybody that I know, when they hear the recession is coming, the recession is coming. It's like Paul Revere, you know what I'm saying? The recession is coming. The recession is coming. Everybody get in your house and shut the door. Bro, they were talking, the recession is coming. They were like, yo, we about to capitalize off of this. I was like, unbelievable. You about to do what? They were like, yeah, the economy about to crash, so houses are going to be cheap, so we're going to get them. Stocks is going to be low, so we're going to buy them. I was like, what am I hearing? And, you know, and so it was, some people see the same situation and they look at it externally. What is the news saying? What is the paper saying? What are the people saying? Then there are people who are inward saying, what are the facts? And what are the opportunities right now? Not the threats, not the weaknesses. What are the strengths? What are the opportunities? And I literally watched StockX start during that time frame. I literally was there when Dan Gilbert's sons and the staff was doing StockX, and they asked me what I thought. And I was like, I don't know, bro. My community, they like to stand in line and try their shoes on. I'm not really sure they're going to buy shoes on the internet. Bro, it's a multi-million-dollar industry right now, bro. I'm like, I was there. I sat there. I was in the conception. Like, I was in the room. I was one of the ones that when they were talking about ideas, sitting in there, giving my stupid 2% at that time, that now that I look back was like, dumb. But what I did learn was what I shouldn't do the next time a crisis happened, how I should look at it. Now, I'm going to look at it as Warren Buffett. Why? Because I want to make the kind of money Warren Buffett is making. So I got to look at situations the way Warren Buffett is looking at situations. And I can't look at it as people who are in the working class look at it. Not that working class people are bad humans. They just aren't going to take advantage of America resources the way that entrepreneurs and billionaires going to take advantage of it. So I learned that day, you can call it excuse if you want to. You can name it that, and that's what it's going to be. Or you can name it opportunity and define it as opportunity, and that's what it's going to be, period. So for me, there is no such thing of an excuse. A man defines it as excuse, therefore it becomes an excuse. There are opportunities. A man defines it as an opportunity, and thus it becomes an opportunity.
I was in a meeting years ago, maybe 10 years ago now or so. and I was a financial advisor in my past life. And the guys that were presenting were high producers, way outside of my realm at that point. And one of the guys was talking about it, and he said he was talking about some of the numbers he was putting up and the investments he was managing and this and that. And I started to tune it out a little bit because it was so far out of my realm that I was like, this, like, I didn't even hear it. And well, what I did hear is that as soon as I dismissed it, he said, and I bet that there's some of you right now who are hearing the numbers I'm putting up and are completely dismissing that because you don't think it's possible for you. Like, he was speaking directly to me because that's exactly what I was thinking, and caused me to start looking at what high producers, high performers are doing and start actually looking.
Yeah.
And what I used to do is make excuses like, well, you know, that guy, go ahead. Yeah. That guy did this because, he's connected, or somebody gave him an opportunity, or he's lucky. And what I started doing instead, and I haven't always been great, is, all right, how does ET get to where he's at? Number one motivational speaker in the world. Not what did you do to get, like, who did you screw over to get there, but what specifically did you do, and what can I do in my life to duplicate those results?
Yeah, let me tell you something. I had to write that down, what you said, because, and you said it, I believed. I did. When I sat in that room with Warren Buffett, I believed that he was a human who's a billionaire, so I could be one. Dan Gilbert is a human who's a billionaire, so I could be one. I literally, I mean, you said it. I just took the words out your mouth and wrote them down. Matter of fact, let me text it to myself. I believed. Like, I walked out of that room going, yo, I can do it. As a matter of fact, Irvin Magic Johnson said something deep. He says it doesn't take any more effort to be a millionaire than a multimillionaire than a billionaire. He was like, yo, for real, the effort isn't different. You feel me? I read something where Steve Harvey said he made $25 telling a joke. He made $2,500 telling the same joke. He made $25,000 telling the same joke. He made $250,000 telling the same joke. He made 58 million telling the same joke.
Now,
so he told the same joke, nothing changed. But what he believed he could make and what he believed he could do was different. So he went from telling it maybe, in a small little, building somewhere with a group of people, to eventually doing it on Family Feud, or doing it on one of his shows, or doing it on the Steve Harvey show, or one of his sitcoms, or whatever, doing it on when he traveled and did, what was that called? Kings of Comedy. But he said it was the same effort. Magic said it's the same effort. So for me, I said to myself, yo, look at what these people are doing. If you do what they're doing, you could do the same thing they're doing. Like, if you do, and so what is it? It's not making excuses, meaning not seeing the threat only in it. And when you see the threat, you don't see the threat to paralyze you. You see the threat as, oh, I need to make some adjustments in my algorithm. I need to make some adjustment in the system. Not I need to quit, give up, surrender. It's I need to make an adjustment. But you see the opportunity, and you see your personal strength and how to make it happen. So for me, to your point, I'm now looking at those individuals, asking myself, what are they doing? Whatever they're doing, they're humans doing it. They're humans doing it. So if another human can do it, I have the capacity to do it as well. And I'm doing it. That's the thing I want to say. I'm doing it. Like, I'm literally doing it. Like, I was like, wow, I was with Ohio State. I'll be working with them this year. They're ranked number 2 in the nation. The number 1 team, Alabama, I've worked with Alabama. I'm working with the world champion LA Rams. I worked with the 49ers that made it to the NFC, championship game, who lost because, the guy missed an interception that could have changed the whole game, right? So I just say that to say, if another human's doing it, we can do it. If we believe we can do it, and we put the effort and the energy toward it, and we execute, there's nothing we can't accomplish. But you owe you to do that. Nobody else owes you that. Nobody else owes you that.
Brother, tell us how we connect with you, where the best place to pick up a copy of the book and all that stuff is.
Well, I can honestly tell you, for the first time in my life, I did 3 other books that were self-published. This is the book that you can go wherever books are sold. You feel me? Like
Nice.
you don't got to wait on
Yeah.
Eric no more. You know what I'm
You've
saying?
got a
Like
lot of bonuses though, if I remember right, because I was going through and there's like a lot of
absolutely.
bonus
Yep.
opportunities.
On etinspires.com, a lot
Okay.
of bonuses. So if you're that person that, you know, you want to go through the website and get it and get the bonuses, phenomenal. You just want to go to Amazon, you want to go to Barnes and Nobles, the local mom and pop shop. You want to support them, you can go to them. Hey, if you're catching a flight and you want to get it at the airport, you can get it at the airport. I don't know if Greyhound has it yet. I got to make some phone calls to see if they got it at Greyhound. But everywhere else where books are sold, it's there. And to stay in touch with me, you know, you got ericthomas.com or etinspires.com, but ericthomas.com, you know, you can go and figure out, you know, everything that's ET, the hip hop preacher. But yeah, I do want to say this to you guys. Again, grateful for the platform, but what I'm hoping that you will get out of this is not just inspiration. Now, I want you to be inspired. I tell people all the time, people who create this false narrative that it's just motivation. Don't lie to yourself. It's not. It's not just gas. Okay. It's not just, I just put gas in my car. It's not just gas. I don't care what kind of car you have. Without gas or electricity, that vehicle is going nowhere. You need gas to move the vehicle, period. Don't fool yourself and say, it's just motivation. Ask a married man, ask a married woman who's no longer motivated by their marriage, who no longer likes their husband or their wife. I promise you, if they're not in love, if they're not, it changes how they treat each other. It changes if they still gonna be together. Ask a man who has a business that he's no longer motivated by. It's not the same. An NFL player who's no longer motivated to play the game. Ask Megatron. Ask Megatron, best player who walked out. Ask Barry Sanders, who just walked away from the game. Motivation, my friend, is critical. It's not everything, but it's the start. So I want you to be inspired. I want you to be motivated. I want you to have hope. But more importantly, I want you to hear that anything you want and anything you want to do or be, you have the power to do it. You're looking at a high school dropout turned PhD, not with phenomenal skill, but phenomenal will. And I'm telling you, when you take ownership of your life, whatever you big, bad, bold enough to believe can happen for you, you're the only one stopping you from making it happen. And I promise you, if you do what you say you want to do, you're going to look, I'm on a podcast, y'all. You're going to promote my book. You're going to get people. Am I going to be on every podcast in the world? Absolutely not. But I'm on some bad mamma jammas. I'm on some bad podcasts that are going to help me. Why? Because I help myself first. Nobody is going to help you if you don't help yourself first. Nobody's going to invest in you if you don't invest in yourself first. Nobody's going to put you on your platform if you don't create your own first. So I just want you guys, two things: motivation, yes, but more importantly, application, execution. And I'll say this as we close. People treat you differently when you get things done versus when you talk about getting things done. So get it done, and the right people will help you to come and elevate it. The Phil Jacksons will come out of nowhere for you. You know what I'm saying? They'll find you once you operate at a high level. So again, love you guys. Appreciate you guys who are podcasters, who spend the type of time you spend with us, who believe in us and support us. Man, thank y'all for supporting this podcast. And get the book. And I promise you, you will thank yourself. Or if you have somebody in your family that's struggling and you give it to them, they'll thank you for giving it to them.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Like I said,
Appreciate
always
you.
been motivated, inspired by what you're doing. And like you said, application and execution, it's huge. So you helped me with all of those. I appreciate you. Thanks, brother.
Man, appreciate you. Hey, if you don't mind, I always want my mom to know, and I don't know if you're going to be able to give it to me, but I'm going to take a pic so my mom could see I'm doing the right thing these days. I struggled as a teenager, but I'm doing the right thing. So thank you for the platform, man. Many blessings to you. And whatever your heart's desires are, if there's anything I can do to support you, you know, I'm here for you.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much.
All right.